So what are you doing there? Keeping track of your career?
Yeah, we blog a bunch of this stuff, and we throughout MMA and boxing, we've done both. So we do a lot of we keep track of pretty much everything. You know, we get all the film footage of everything. We'll go into when we're allowed. You know, we'll go
That's
and
cool.
do our weigh-ins and stuff, and we just want to make sure to have the footage for future use for our future students and stuff. It gives them an idea of what they're going to be expecting.
Yeah.
So that there's no extra stress. I mean, the show is big enough as it is, and so we want them to feel the experience of it.
Is this a pretty big show for you?
This show right here is a big show. Yeah, I mean, I fought in some bigger shows in like MMA and stuff, but when it comes to boxing, this is the biggest. This right here is in my career, it's the pinnacle. Man.
I'm just surprised how huge it is.
It's huge. It's huge. It's amazing. We got a huge fan base coming. It's amazing. Yeah, probably the biggest we've done in the state. We've been fighting for about 10 years here, so it's definitely a huge show for us. Being the first pro show, it's just.
And where are you from?
I'm from Browning. I'm from the Blackfeet Nation.
So is
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
You're
Daniel's actually one of my we're training partners. He was one of my students for a lot of years, and then he went pro, and now we're pretty much his training partners now. You know, he's good.
So does a lot of Browning come down here?
Oh yeah, especially for the fights. We have a huge following.
I've been seeing a lot of Native Americans checking in.
You guys are gonna see the majority of the crowd here. I'm probably gonna guarantee it's gonna be Piikani Nation, Blackfeet.
Cool.
People.
well,
Yeah. You got Billy Wagner, you got Daniel, and you got myself.
So all three of you.
All three of us are on the card for the first time ever.
Well, are you all fighting pros too then?
Yeah.
For the first time?
Well, we
Well, boxing.
pro boxing.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Yep.
Like you went pro also.
I went pro in MMA back in 2012. Daniel about 4 years ago. So we've been fighting pro MMA for a few years.
So how old a guy are you?
I'm 40.
Whoa. You
But
don't look 40, but
I don't,
you,
and I definitely don't feel 40.
well,
so.
the other guy didn't look 29, but
Yeah.
well, that's good.
Yeah, no, we eat very healthy. We train constantly. No drugs, no alcohol. Our bodies are a lot younger than our ages, that's for sure. We've been doing it for a while, and we got a good regiment lined out for ourselves. So we stay young. We stay young.
Are you a vegetable eater too? Mostly vegetables?
No. I do eat keto. Keto, those mostly healthy fats like salmon, hamburgers, fatty hamburger, cheeseburgers, stuff like that. I can eat meat like that, but a lot of vegetables. Most of it's healthy fats though. Healthy fats, no carbs, no sugar whatsoever, no vegetable oils, no seed oils. That's basically the rules. Those three things are not allowed in our diet, and so we stay. Our longevity is there because of that. It's a big reason because of that. We add our training to that, and plus being Piikani, we have ceremonies that we do throughout the year too, and those ceremonies have to do with fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll fast for 2, 3, 4 days at a time while dancing and training and doing different things like that. So our bodies are used to autophagy. Our bodies are used to cutting weight and being without food and water and just running on energy. Pure ketonines is what we're running off of now. So the reason why we look so young is a huge part because of what we eat. And then we add the fasting to that plus the training. So
Sweat lodges?
sweat lodges, absolutely. That's a must. We probably sweat about 6 times just in training camp on the way here. So
Yeah.
just doing our weeklies. Like every week we'll set up a sweat lodge. I got one right behind my house. We'll set up our sweat and we'll go in there and we'll relax and we'll sweat it out. We'll get the muscles all relaxed and we'll say our prayers. We'll sing our songs. And,
How many hours a day do you train?
we train 6 to 8 hours a day. So in the morning we'll
So
get
it's
up.
a full-time job almost.
If you're gonna be a pro fighter, you gotta be a full-time fighter. I mean, I have a construction business. I have a brick oven pizza business. I have a lot of things that I do other than fighting. But when it comes to my training camps, everything stops.
You have a brick oven pizza business?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's an amazing.
You can't eat it?
I can eat cauliflower crust. I eat the cauliflower. I make cauliflower crust for mine, and I can eat it. But I can't have my dough. I can't eat my dough, which is horrible for me because it's straight from Italy. It's double aught flour. It's the best dough ever in the world.
What's the name of the place?
My place is a Harwood Brick Oven Pizza Company.
In Browning?
Yeah, in Browning. Yeah.
Well,
And
next
actually, it's
time
in
I'm
Bab,
there,
right?
I'll have to stop.
Yeah, it'll be in Bab this summer, up by Mini Glacier, going to the Sun Road. It'll be up there this summer, so I'm gonna catch the tourists this summer.
Have the casinos helped or hurt?
The casinos,
They don't do anything with boxing?
They don't do anything with boxing. We did one show there when it first opened. We did an MMA show, but they cut us off after that, and I don't know why. It was a successful show. It was a big show. We had an amazing event. It was a great turnout. I'm sure they made out like fat cats, but after that they just wouldn't let us allow us to do the venue anymore. So we were just talking to Brandon over here about that, and the opportunities that we've had over the past 10 years aren't very much. We've taken every opportunity we possibly can. Every single venue, every single promotion we've fought for, we've worked hard to. In our eyes, we started out as amateur boxers as kids, and then we went to MMA because we couldn't amateur box anymore, and didn't have pro boxing in the state. So we went to MMA just to keep in it, just to keep fighting, just to stay busy, to learn more. You know, we're always interested in learning more and advancing. And once this came along, we were out. We were done with MMA, and not completely, but in a big way, to where we went right back to what we dedicated ourselves to in the beginning as kids, which was boxing. Because for us, it's just another level.
How did you get interested in starting? I mean, you had to start somewhere.
In boxing?
Yeah.
My father was an amateur boxer, and so when I was, he said the day I started walking, he wrapped my hands with towels and started teaching me. So I kind of just knew it my whole life. I grew up knowing how to use my hands and my feet. I kind of knew it before I knew I was alive, really. When I became conscious, I could already use my hands and feet because he was teaching me so young.
Do you have a lot of Native Americans seem to play so much basketball? Is that a hindrance or a help?
As
recruiting people?
Oh, recruiting people. Yeah, like when it comes to fighting, I don't recruit. I don't recruit. Not when it comes to boxing and fighting, because the thing about it is these kids, they have to want it. They have to want it themselves. They have to want to do it themselves. They have to come in themselves, because if I try to recruit, because it's a glorious thing in the eyes of some people. It seems like, oh, that's, you know, of course I want to do that. These people, they're popular and this and whatnot. But the thing about it is these kids, if they don't choose it themselves, then they're never gonna amount to what they need to amount to in the ring, and it's too dangerous for them to be in there otherwise. If they truly don't want to be in them themselves, they're not begging me to train them over and over, where I'm telling them no for a couple times, and then they keep coming, then I'll take them on, but otherwise I won't, because you just have to want to be in there. And sometimes you could recruit people and they'll think they want to be in there because you want them to be in there, because it's popular, because their friends are in there, and then they'll end up getting themselves into a situation that they didn't really want to be in, out of maybe ego or pride, and it could get them really hurt in this business. So when it comes to recruiting, I do not recruit fighters. If people come and beg me a couple, 3 times to train them, they want to fight, they got to fight, then I'll take them on and I'll teach them, and I'll get them fights and I'll help them out. But like when it comes to my kids, I will never tell my children to get in the ring or be a professional fighter. I'll never tell them that they should do that. If they come to me and they say, this is what I want to do, then I'll be behind them 100%.
How long can you fight? I mean, 50, 45?
I mean, you know, there's been world champions that won at 50. You know, there's been guys that won their titles back at 50 years old. I believe my mother is actually a PhD in microbiology, so I study macronutrients quite a bit, and I bounce those ideas off of her. And I've found out a lot of information about how at the age of 40 is your peak for your strength, your endurance, everything as a man. After the age of 40, you decline 3% a year.
Right.
But what has to happen is if you double up your work rate at that time, if you double it up, and you can't slow down. Most people think you got to slow down your work rate as you get older, but the facts of the matter are is if you can change your diet off of glucose and glycogen fuel and turn it to ketone fuel and double your work rate at 40, you can plateau. And you can stay at this plateau until you've seen 80, 90-year-old guys that are ripped and doing 100 pull-ups, and these are the guys that doubled their work rate at 40. These are the guys that plateaued at 40 and stayed there instead of declining 3% a year after that age. So being that I've been fighting my whole life and now I'm 40 years old, my body doesn't feel like it's 40. It doesn't look like it's 40. It runs like a 20-year-old. I train with 20-year-olds all day long. I train them. I spar them. I work with them all day long. But definitely if it wasn't for the food intake that I have and the training that we have and the fasting, the ceremonies is a big part of it, the fasting. people don't realize how beneficial that is to your health and your longevity.
How did COVID mess with you?
Not at all. I didn't even know it was here. What's that?
Alright.
I just do what I do, you know.
You just do it by
I
yourself?
just kept on doing my thing. Yeah, no, it didn't. There was nothing about COVID that messed with me. I never came up positive. I never came up nothing with it. None of my family ever. We just kept living our lives and kept our businesses open as best as we could.
Because on the res, wasn't that where they had like they kind of closed shop for a while?
Oh, they closed shop. Yeah, we closed shop big time up there. The tribe, they closed it down. They're even still trying to close it down to where they only want local people doing some stuff this summer up there. But I mean, honestly, I'm not on that side of things myself. I think that what they're doing here with this event, bringing everyone back together, is the biggest thing we can do for each other. Is to support each other in the fact that fear alone is gonna kill you quicker than the COVID. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The stress over it is gonna kill you quicker than the actual disease. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we need to. I do believe that, and like the Blackfeet Nation, by them coming all here to this venue and doing what they're doing, they're proving also in a big way that they're stepping past that, because we are highly propagandized up there. There's a lot of statistics that aren't true, and when it comes to COVID, you know, we weren't any worse hit than anybody else, no matter what the media says. We weren't any worse hit. We just have less population, and that's just the truth. The people up there, though, are strong. We're resilient. We always have been. It's not the first time we dealt with pandemics. I'll tell you that. It's not the first time we dealt with diseases that wiped out 50% of our population at one time. Like, it's not the first time we've done this. Not our first rodeo, you know. So it's in our DNA to bear down and to not laugh everything off. Only the things that we have to, but have the important conversations and always stay strict with what we're doing. We stay strict with our diet. We stay strict with our training. We stay strict with what we put in our bodies. Not only that, how we think, how we speak,
Right.
how we act. As long as, see, like with our club, it's called Piikani Elite, and Piikani means the Blackfeet people. That's the original name for the Piikani, the real people. It's an off translation, but it's like the human nation is what it means. There's no race. It's just everyone's the same. Everyone's the human nation. There's the Buffalo Nation, the human nation, the plant nation. So in our way, in the human nation, in the Sixakate Peaks way, the Piikani way, we're all warriors. We all have it in our DNA to survive through the hardest of things, to laugh and smile along the way, to be resilient, and that's just what we do. That's what I do in my club, in my training club, my boxing and MMA club. It's really vital that my students understand that projection is everything. We're never disrespectful to our opponents ever. We always say they're going to have a great fight. We always believe that they will. We always pray for their health, because the fact of the matter is that a lot of people would say, oh, you know, the Indian people, you guys were at war for hundreds of years before we got here, so it's justified. But the fact of the matter is we didn't war the same way. We didn't have war the same way. We didn't kill all the time. That wasn't what we did in war. We did what we called counting coups, and we used coup sticks and we used pipe stems, and we called coup. They're called coups, and the greatest honor for a Piikani man is to count a coup, not to kill a man. So when we're as boxers, we continue in that tradition, because we pray for our opponents in a big way, that they go home to their families. They got grandmothers to feed, they got wives, and they got children to take care of, and they're the breadwinners. They're the ones that are going to protect that family. And if they die, then their family dies. And that's the old traditional way. That's why we counted coup. That's why we rode up on somebody, we'd touch them in the head with our coup stick or with our pipe stem, and we'd ride off before they could shoot us or kill us. And that was called counting coup, because after that moment, that man had to realize for life that every breath he took was because of the man who let him live that day. That's one thing. But the other thing is the respect. We let him live because he has family, but we trained to fight, we trained to battle, we trained to defend ours, it's in our DNA. But it's not in our DNA to hurt other people and kill them, to kill them off. It's in our DNA to count coups on them and send them home to their families again. Because it's just it's just something old inside of us. But when we come to fight like this, it's the same thing. We're coming to count coup. We don't want to hurt anybody in a way that they can't go home to their families or something changes inside of them forever. We do want it to be a competitive situation to where we count that coup and we go home, both of us safe and healthy, because the health is the number one thing for us, for the Picanni elite nation, or our boxing team. We don't believe in right and wrong. Those words don't exist in our camp. We don't believe in good and bad. Those words don't exist in our camp either. Each one of those words, they mean that you can't be the other. If you're bad, you can't be good. You know, if you're right, you can't be wrong. And that's just not what we believe. We believe in healthy and unhealthy. You can either be healthy or unhealthy, and that's it. There's no in between. A healthy person can become unhealthy, and an unhealthy person can become healthy. And so when these unhealthy people come into my club and they want to learn how to fight and they want to do this stuff, I explain to them, at this point in life right now, you're an unhealthy person. That's all. You're not wrong, you're not bad, you're not nothing. You're just unhealthy. And all it's going to take is time and effort and discipline to make you healthy again. That's all it's going to take. But I'm going to tell you right now, this guy standing next to me, I tell him, this healthy man standing next to me, all it's going to take is about a half an hour of him drinking whiskey and he's unhealthy again. So it's the same. The healthiest person in the world can be the most unhealthy in a second. The most unhealthy can be healthy with time and with effort. There's never no right and wrong. There's never no good and bad for us. It's not what we believe in as Picanni people. So,
Last question. Do you know Jeannie Baker?
Jeannie Baker. That sounds familiar.
She's from Browning. She's
I know a lot of
female.
Bakers, yeah.
She's a female that kind of keeps the man in line.
Yeah.
She's on a couple boards I was on. So.
Oh yeah, right on.
She's
Yeah.
a good one.
We do have our society is ran in a way that's not exactly matriarchal or patriarchal. It's ran in a way that's it's like what we call the Tiospe, I guess in the Oyate. It's like the Buffalo Nation. Everybody's a leader. Everyone needs to consult, and everyone needs to make a decision. There's never really one chief or anything like that. That's powwow circus stuff. That's not really real in Indian society. But what is real is there's a lot of people who are leaders, women and men, and they have their own followings and they have their own groups, and they do come together and they do consult, and we do work things out amongst each other in the programs. So it's coming together good. The nation is real healthy right now, and I think at this point in time is one of the biggest points in time for us to do an event like this and get everybody bring that strength back a little bit, because it feels like there's a bit of weakness amongst the people. And so by us doing something like this and just showing everybody that, you know, if you just work hard and try hard, that your dreams can come true, and they will. Because I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter how old I am right now. When I was a little kid, I used to tell everybody I'm gonna be a professional boxer one day, and tonight is my dream's gonna come true, no matter what. So
Well, congratulations.
I appreciate that. And that's just the example we want to pass on to the young generation too. Just don't give up. All you have to do is not quit,
Yeah.
and you'll make it. Just don't quit.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Appreciate it.
So are you the head of the kind of elite club down up there?
Well-
or like is it more you know, like, because there's people like here in Great Falls, you get from both back, and
Yeah.
I think it's back, and
Yeah.
like you have Joe or somebody who's in charge. So,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I understand what you're saying, and that is, it's kind of like what I was explaining a second ago. Is I am the one who started Picanni Elite. I am the one who was the first professional fighter out of the Blackfeet Nation, and I started that club, and I named it Picanni Elite. I am the guy who did that, but I don't run it like that. In a way, I run it in a way that when fighters come into my club, I let them know that I'm here to help you, but you're also here to help me. We're gonna work together equally. There's gonna be no alpha mentality about our camp. There's never gonna be an alpha mentality, because I noticed when I first started, I did kind of do that. I was the leader, I was the trainer, I was the head trainer, and I trained guys to
How
come
old
up.
were you when you started?
When I first started Picanni Elite, or when
exactly.
when I first started Picanni Elite, I was, let's see, that was 10 years ago. I was 30 when I started Picanni Elite. Yeah, and so, but when I first started, I was a little young. I was a little bit, egotistical and immature and stuff. And I would take on young guys who were strong, and I would teach them how to fight, and they would do great, and they would become successful. But eventually, it would become to where they kind of felt like they were standing maybe in a shadow, and it got to where there was a alpha mentality amongst us, and in our traditional way, we try not to run it like a wolf pack, because in a wolf pack there's always contention and duality, and these are two things that we try not to ever involve ourselves in as Picanni people. Anything that's contentious and dualistic, not everybody. I'm just saying traditional people that know everybody. 2% of us, okay? So it's not like everybody understands what I'm talking about. But the contention, the traditional way of being, because I'm a sundancer and I've been doing this a long time, I understand the traditional ways, the old ways. The old ways were non-contentious, non-duality. And in a wolf pack, there's contention and duality because there's one leader. And that puts it to where there's always going to be the ones below them that are vying for their spot. You know, they're always going to be contending for their spot. They're always going to want that spot. There's going to be a young one that's going to come up, challenge the old one. Old one's going to tear him up. They're going to get sent off. The old ones, the other old ones, might tear up the alpha. It's just so they can get. It's just a constant of wanting that spot. You know, and I'm not saying that we're animals, but we're fighters, and it's not much difference when it comes to that mentality of duality and contention. And so how I run it specifically is, yes, I did start Picanha Elite, but I don't call myself the head trainer. I don't call myself the leader of Picanha Elite. I'm one of the trainers. I'm one of the fighters. That's just it. All these other, Daniel's a trainer. He's a fighter. I got other guys that aren't even fighters that are trainers that are part of the camp that help out the camp. I got students that come in that don't know anything. And I let them know for a fact that there's something you can teach me. You must have done something in this life that you can teach me. I'll work with you. I'll teach you everything I know. But you got to work with me too. Show me what you know. And then we'll do it all together. We'll move together. I'll ask you if that's the decision you want to make. You ask me if that's the decision I should make. It's never going to be such that you're going to do this, you're going to do that. When it comes to my regiments and how I run my regiments, my 6 to 8 hours of training every day, those are non-negotiable. Those things, what order they do them in is negotiable. I don't care, but what they have to do is non-negotiable. That's about the only thing in our camp that's non-negotiable. Everything else is.
Well, it's proven success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it works.
It works.
Yeah,
it works. It works.
Don't mess with it.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, don't mess with what works already. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how I do it. And yeah, I did start Picanha Elite, but Daniel is as much the head trainer as I am.
Daniel's been with you now, so 5 years?
7 years. 7 years he's been with me. Yeah, he's come so far. He's the best, man. He's the best. Watch the show he puts on tonight.
It's been interesting to watch that guy.
Yeah, he's gonna, and right now he's at the pinnacle of his health and skill. He dropped 30 pounds. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He dropped 30 pounds for this fight.
Vegetables.
Yeah, 30 pounds for this fight he dropped, and to 165, and that's solid. Like tons of energy. We fasted for 2 days before weigh-in, and we were still shadow boxing and tons of energy because we just changed our whole way of living, and it has everything to do with that food for sure. If it wasn't for the food, we'd be another step behind still.
Which one are you in? What fight?
I'm up against Angel, so I'm right after
fourth.
Daniel. Yeah, I'm fourth. Yeah.
You guys are going to be probably vying because, I was talking to one of the guys. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to fill up this place because of you guys. You know, we might get some pay-per-views from these other guys who, you know, I don't know if we'll have any this time, but last time we had a guy who ended up signing with a pro thing right after they fought with us or right before they fought with us. It was insane.
Yeah.
But you guys will pull it up. It'll be loud and raucous.
It's gonna be.
And it'll be fun because the hope is that some of these people who are paying for the pay-per-view will see it over and they'll be like, "Hey, heck yeah, let's get one of those guys from Browning come up and fight for us."
Hey, we're all about it, man. Any exposure we can get is just amazing for us.
Just interviewed the lady that is vying for commissioner. How much of a detriment is that you don't have a commissioner in the state of Montana to?
It's a huge detriment to us. I mean, it's the reason why we haven't gone pro before. I mean, I suppose I could have went pro if I moved out of the state. Being that I have children and businesses here, it was really hard for me to do that. I'm going pro the second I have a chance. Like when I went pro in MMA, it was the first year that 145 was allowed to be pro in MMA. I did that the first year out too. As soon as I get an opportunity, I do it. So that's how detrimental it is to the kids coming up. If there's a kid coming up right now that has heart for it like I do, and he has to wait till he's 40 to go pro, that's not what we want for him. Right. We want him to have the opportunity young. So we do need those commissions to come into the state. It's detrimental in the fact that our state legislation seems to be pushing back against it so much. It's hard to understand. Being Montana, we're a fighting state. We got fighting fans. I mean,
they don't
just-
want to deal with it. It's
They just
work.
don't. Yeah, it's work. It is work, and yeah, if we can somehow continue to project that reality that it's gonna happen just like it's happening right now. Because we believed it was gonna happen for years. Daniel and I talked about being on a pro boxing show 7 years ago together on the same card. 7 years ago we talked about it when we first got together. One day we'll be on the same pro show. We'll just keep working, you know. So like tonight, I'm gonna be cornering Daniel before my fight.
Oh, really? Right before?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go out and corner him. I'm gonna have my hands wrapped and my gear all on already, you know. I'm gonna
Just stay out in the ring.
I'm gonna just corner him, and then as soon as he goes out, I'm gonna walk back. I'm gonna put my gloves on. I'm gonna hit the mitts. I'm gonna warm up, and I'm gonna walk right back out and jump back in it.
That's awesome.
Because that's our dedication to this sport and to all this. I mean, we did all the hard work already. We're gonna have fun tonight, as much as we can, as much fun as we can, you know. So
All right.
Well, let you go.
thank you. I appreciate it, you guys.